funny because I think we've been waiting for a Dricus.
Mm.
You know, the doors that he kicked down, it's strange. It's not like he kicked down doors as such. What he did was he just showed that it's all psychology, that you are good enough.
Mm.
I mean, I've been preaching this for 10 years, a decade. But nobody listens to me because I'm the promoter. So everyone's like, he's just speaking shit. He's just, he's
supposed to say that.
Supposed to say that.
Yeah.
But like, I genuinely believed it. You know, everything that's come out of my mouth, like I'm engaged with the athletes. I've it's funny. I didn't come from a fighting background, as in I wasn't doing MMA. I'd done kickboxing and boxing and all that type of stuff. And I trained and I loved the sport and I was heavily involved this is a passion of mine. And so, like watching athletes, I didn't so much resonate on the skill level with them. What I resonated on which I think we all can, as like, especially if you are in fight sports, is kind of like the desire and the passion and the kind of like those nonsensical. It's more like the pure determination and grit. Like a Leon Maynard for me was just always so like, wow, like that's a fighter. Like it's a fighter. And when I was around Dricus, I mean, even now I speak to him once a week. And the amount of information he has on the sport and how passionate he still is about the sport and his drive to be the guy in the sport you can sense it. You meet somebody like, this guy loves what he's doing.
You can see it when he walks into the octagon as well. Like there's a massive smile on his face. And
so I think that what he's done is shown guys, no, like we're good enough. And the guys that are around him believe it. And anybody who's ever touched him I've been in his presence or I've been a part of a fight card that Dricus was on, it all seeps down. You know, it's this beautiful concept of like, we all just feel the momentum of him and his journey as almost like feeding into ours. So my journey's better because his journey's better. And somebody who trained him 5 years ago doing something might go, you know what, my journey's better because I actually part of the journey and everybody is benefiting from it. The same thing when EFC grows, everybody grows. That's like always been the concept with my partners and I, is we're like, just keep going, keep pushing, make this thing as big as possible. Because even though the athletes couldn't live up to the hype of the promotion at one stage, like we were so big, our athletes weren't as good as we were big, if that makes sense.
That makes 100% sense, yeah.
But we were like, we don't care, they'll catch up. And when they catch up, you can have the most incredible thing in the world because you're going to have this amazing platform that is the best litmus or tester for whether you can be in the UFC or not. Like fight in the EFC and tell me when you go and fight in the UFC that you aren't like completely prepared. I mean, the Dricus didn't speak English when he was 18 and he signed his contract with me. His English wasn't like first language.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't first language English. Afrikaans. And he honed the skill of that language because he knew that he had a vision for himself of being in the UFC one day. And he knew what it would take, and that's why like we talk about manifestation, it's like he's there. He's in that momentum. So, and even when he lost to Robert Soldick, I remember him getting knocked out and I was like, I remember being in an EFC and watching it, and I was like mortified. And we were helping manage him. Because what had happened was he was still under contract to us. So there was a joint management situation with him and with a guy named Mike Milan in the Netherlands with KSW. And I was just like, it's fine. Like there was something about him losing that was okay because I know how he'll take it. And he'll just be like, okay, cool. That I needed that to happen. Let's keep going. So I think, we are so good as athletes. I mean, we've got, how long is our legacy of rugby?
We were saying, so Don Madge and I were saying as well, like imagine 10% of those rugby players just decide, you know what, like a Volkanovski, you know what, rugby's not for me anymore. I'm not going to make it. I have injuries, whatever. And they're like, okay, let's go get into grappling. Let's get into fighting. Congolese.
Yeah.
Or like Nigerians. So imagine.
So it's funny you say that. I'm always so like taken back at how animated and like hectic the Congolese fan base and athletes are. And Kyra and I were chatting about it the one day, and we use them when we're talking to sponsors or anybody. We're like, so across Africa, you've got soccer in Nigeria, the national sport.
Yeah.
I think rugby and cricket and soccer are very big here in South Africa. What is the national sport of Congo?
Probably football.
They're not known for their football. They're known for their fighting.
Yeah.
So when Chiluma Mikishi or Champion Dolce go back home, they're freaking superstars, man. And they have made it by being the champions here. It's bizarre, but like they might not want the UFC. Some of them are like, I'm EFC Africa champion. My life is so much more enriched now. I'm that. I don't want to give that up. I want to defend. I want to fight. So it's all varying degrees of the same dream, which is, guys want to be the best in the UFC, but guys want to be the best in EFC. The reality is that I know that by being the best in EFC, that transition is just so smooth. Everything comes to play. You're in front of the TV all the time.
Press conferences.
We're always putting a camera on you. We're teaching you by virtue of throwing in the deep end how to be in front of a camera. And Tommy Dricus isn't so articulate when he's in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You're like, well, and they polish that stuff, man. They now know to go back to their gym, very much like the way Conor McGregor did. All the rhetoric that came out of Conor McGregor, and I know John Kavanagh really well, so I know that this is how they do it. And Peter Queally came and fought for us, so I've intimate understanding of how they work. Is they speak like that to each other as soundboards all the time. So what's going to come out on the other end when you got a microphone and you win a fight? Exactly that.
Yeah.
The cool stuff, the stuff that goes, we're not here to take part, here we take over, because they've been saying that ad nauseum in their gyms. And the same thing with Dricus and his guys. They are bouncing stuff off each other. They're getting coached. They're learning how to present themselves. And that's why, like, every time they appear, it's just going to flow down to all of us. We're all going to get better. If we're in the podcast industry and it's MMA, we're going to get better at it because we've got better athletes to talk about. More content, more stuff.
And everybody works, and as soon as everybody starts talking and working together, it just makes everybody better.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, because we're so niche and such a small community in MMA. It does help that Dricus can go and train wherever he wants and really glean a lot from different training partners. The long-standing rivalry between him and Gareth, I remember that. That was amazing. Now, when you see them at an EFC together, they're training, they're doing jits on the weekend.
Yeah.
They're doing sessions. Gareth's going and sparring there at CRT. And, they're working with each other and for each other and to help each other grow, because they know. And Gareth is a big ambassador of this. As he left EFC to UFC, and when he came back, he's probably been one of the single biggest, advocates of EFC and MMA and cohesiveness, and I love that. And I really like it about him as a person.
Yeah, and you need the people to come back. I mean, Dricus goes to all of the events still, whether he's got fighters there or not. I mean, just for people to see him there. I mean, it's a great thing. It's but amazing. Also, I mean, they seem so down to earth. I never met Dricus. I met Cameron before, but I mean, they're such down to earth people. Dricus, from what I've seen as well, and I mean, that's what you need. I mean, that's a champion through and through.
Funniest thing was he came down to Cape Town to meet one of the sponsors. Would set up some stuff for him, and we met at Caprice and we started having a few drinks. And we started at 2:00 in the afternoon. And I'm telling you something, I've seen some famous people, but I think he's become next level famous.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to see. For me, he's just this kid. That's he was our former champion. He's awesome and he's a cool guy, and him and I have a good friendship. And just people are enamored with him. Oh, can I have a photo? No, every demographic, male, female, you name it, all over him. And we obviously partied that night, and and just, I mean, him and Chad Leclerc are hanging around together, they're quite close. And just you can see the relationship that Dricus has with people from a fan perspective is really, really still wholesome and good. And I hope that it's maintained throughout his whole career. I think that can also be an unraveling for a lot of athletes overseas, as they get so hooked on that. And you got to stay hungry, man. You got to stay hungry. Fame is a killer. McGregor. It's horrible. It's disgusting. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible because it puts a shell on you of something you're not. You're not that.
Yeah.
You didn't become who you are. You didn't become this incredible machine, this athletic machine, because of fame. But then it becomes the overarching thing that you salivate for.